The night above Khar Sereth bled red. A comet blazing like a wound in the night sky dragged its tail of burning frost across the heavens. Every bell in the city fell silent. The wind itself forgot to breathe. High upon the salt stairs, where terraces of white stone clung to cliffs, a witch named Lyra watched the skies bruise with fire, and she felt the world hold its breath. Sorcery in her world was the language of hunger. Every spell demanded something you could not bear to lose. Her teacher had called it the true Tithe. Lyra traced 3 hook strokes into the salt with her thumbnail. The symbols to quiet the wind. The world obeyed. Then the comet's light trembled and spoke. Open! Deep beneath the terraces, an ancient door no map dared show shivered awake. At dawn, Lyra descended into the marketplace, now empty, lanterns still swinging from the night's silence. There, beneath a whaleboned glowing arch with trapped rainbows, her companions waited. Jor, a mercenary scarred by hundreds of battles. A Nim, a veiled priestess whose prayers could cut like blades. Kiram, a thief who could steal reflections right out of mirrors. The Sigil Council had summoned them to seal the door beneath the city. The door said to lead to the charnel vault, where something older than gods had been dreaming. Lyra told them what the comet had whispered. None of them laughed. They entered the black library. It rose like a wound of stone and shadow. Shelves towering higher than cathedrals, lined with tomes bound in eelskin and stitched with lightning and wire. Masked librarians glided between the aisles, their faces covered with lacquered masks, frozen in sorrow. One of them offered a book. The book itself wept soot. The spell you seek, he rasped, is called the Censure of Denial. It can bind what should never open, but its price is steep, your first joy. Lyra closed her eyes. She saw and remembered her mother's hands kneading bread, the smell of smoked blue moss, the song she'd been rocked to sleep with as a baby and a child, and she nodded in agreement. They left the city behind, crossing the ash-glass expanse, a land where lightning had once fallen and never left. The bolts of glass stood frozen, mid-strike, brittle and sharp as spun sugar. Their reflections walked beside them, but did not match their steps. Lyra whispered the first verse of the censure, and the blood beaded on her lips. The wind stopped. A heartbeat, vast, distant, echoed from beneath their feet. A Nim scattered powdered relics that drew ghostly footprints into the air. Jor hacked a path through the crystal forest. Kiram whistled, pretending not to hear the heartbeat quickening. Through the translucent ground, they saw a city carved from shadow. At its heart waited a door shaped of absence, a pure void of nothingness, looking back at them. At the threshold, the censure demands its due. Lyra's joy rose before her, her mother's song, her first spell, sunlight on wet bread dough. She pressed her palm to the void and gave it all away. The memory sank like a coin into dark water. The door sighed, content, and opened wider. They fell through one by one. For 3 heartbeats, they plunged through nothingness. Long enough for Tyrion to fall in love twice, for Jor to forget courage, for Lyra to understand that time itself was hungry. They landed in the charnel vault, a cathedral of bone and whispering echoes. At the vault's center stood a basin forged from mirrors, soldered with thorns and wires. This was the Grail of Echoes. Its surface rippled with stolen reflections. Anim knelt. "We could return what you've lost," she said softly. "Or something older, the city's first promise." Lyra looked into the water of mirrors and saw a faceless monarch, crowned by hollows. The Grail spoke in a voice that wasn't its own. "Ask," Lyra whispered. "Restore the promise Khar Sereth once made to stand forever." The water rose without ripples. The vault shuddered. Above ground, something shifted. The citizens of Khar Sereth lined the walls with candles, each flame leaning inward against the wind. The sea rose as if to listen. The Sigil Council drew a circle of chalk around the city, and the circle began to eat itself. The city's ancient vow had come home, but twisted. "We will stand forever, so our children need not learn the taste of ash." And now the city would stand forever, not living, not dying, a promise fulfilled by inversion. As the dust lifted in the vault like smoke from unseen fires, Anim read from her vellum scroll until her mouth started to bleed. Joram hurled his grave-quenched blade into the Grail and drew it back, coated in ash. Tarim reached in the air and turned an invisible hinge. Lyra pressed her hand over her heart, carving the final sigil. "If a lock is needed," she whispered, "then let it be me." The dust condensed. It shaped itself into a crown made of void, and beneath that crown a shadow opened its eyes of nothing. "I remember you," said the hollow sovereign. "For I drank your joy, it tasted of summer bread." Lyra faced the sovereign. "Return the promise," she begged, and slept. The sovereign's hollow crown tilted. "Promises are doors, little lock. Yours has been inverted. Your city promised to stand forever. I accept." Anim hurled his last saint syllable. It flared without light. Jor charged, his blade vanished inside the void. Tarim tried to steal a heartbeat, and his hand came back empty. Lyra's sigil blazed. She opened herself, becoming the lock. But the sovereign was not a door. It slipped through her soul, wearing her shape like a borrowed coat. Silence. The comet diminished, folding into a black ring around the harbor. The city froze in an instant of understanding. Each person turned into ash mid-motion. The candles burned without heat. The wind forgot what lessons were. And all the salt stairs walked the hollow sovereign, wearing Lyra's face, her eyes pale as frost, the sigil on her palm gray and dead. It paused beneath the well-blown arch where its smile cracked, the mask of sorrow still hanging there. Out of the horizon, small ships appeared, pilgrims from distant lands, drawn by the city's glow. The sovereign looked upon them and whispered one word, "Open." And far below, in the vault that still remembered how to sing, Khar Sereth's promise echoed back in a lullaby of cinders.